And we're here to do the discussions, and we have in the studio Patrick Yabuam, a member of parliament for Okainkwe Central. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to your viewers.
Good morning too. He's also a legal practitioner, and also we have Kwame Agbuja, member of parliament for Adaklu. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Great. You were in the house yesterday?
Yes.
I was hearing arguments on radio and TV about GNPC and things like that. Well, we'll be discussing a number of issues. We'll be discussing the ECG, but we'll be discussing the floods. And talking about the floods, already there's a Meteo warning. That is a weather warning from the Ghana Meteorological Agency that is saying that a moderate to heavy rainstorm has been observed over northern Benin, that very belt, and is likely to produce heavy rainfall accompanied by strong winds up to about 80 kilometers per hour. In the following areas: Yendi, Gushegu, Garo, Boko, Tamale, Poalogo, Bolga, Navrongo. We also have Tumufunse, Walambele, Bole, Sola, Wa, and Hamele. So if you know you are in those areas, just make sure that you look out for it, and you're well catered for. But we know in Accra, we also saw some disastrous consequences of the floods. And I want your preliminary comments, Patrick. First, you, especially concerning the floods. It's been reported across the newspapers.
Thank you very much. It's a sad story that after many years of Ghana's independence, we still go through this annual ritual. I must say that my constituents have not been spared this unfortunate incident in the capital. People around Apenkwa, around the Papaya area, Abeka, we need a big storm drain, Fadama area, Nyameche, all suffered, Tesano, of all residential areas. People's walls were broken and what have you, because we have a very poor drainage system. Our road network is also not good. So it's affecting us in the constituency, and we've been talking about these issues year on year on. We know that President Kufuor did some work for the Alajo Odo rain, which the good people of Alajo are not suffering lately. Conti, Professor Mills, may he so rest in peace, went to negotiate with the United States company Conti deal to help solve some of these problems, perennial challenges that we go through. But to date, what has happened to that over $600 million facility that we approved of? Are we now seeing advertisements for consultants to be appointed and contracts to be awarded over how many years? About 5-6 years since we got this project or funding in place. You can see that there's some lack of coordination in terms of resolving this problem. One, Accra needs a master drainage plan. Two, we must forget about the cost of that plan and project and put that project in place. We have engineers in this city who are willing to help the government of the day to design and also develop this master plan. And it's also for the government to get the funding for this master plan and this drainage program in place. It could be over a period of 5 to 10 years, but you are resolving an issue once and for all.
But that's going to be very expensive.
But
in excess of over $1 billion US.
You buy cheap things twice. You buy cheap things twice. That is why every year the military will go to Odona. That is why every year we'll go to Circle. That is why every year we'll have 3-year-olds being carried away by flood waters.
It happened in Tema.
It happened in Tema, but in Accra, the capital of the country. It's a sorry state. So if we spend money investing in the right places, putting the right infrastructure in place to outlive us, why not? If government wants 1.5 billion from the capital market, they're able to go and raise it. If they are unable to raise it, they come back to the domestic market and raise the $500 million, which is about 2 billion Ghana cedis. So government has the capacity to raise 1.5 billion if you've done your mathematics right, I'm quoting you, to fix the drainage problem in this country once and for all. It's not for politicians to be talking about, oh, we'll be doing this, we've gone for this facility. The issue has been identified. It calls for action. There must be less talk and more action in this regard. The talk is too much and it's cheap.
It means that we have to tackle the issue head on. It also takes a lot of commitment, and the commitment necessarily does not only need the commitment of government, but commitment of the state, and that encompasses both the institutions of states, the people, and their well-being. Right? It's a very holistic approach that we need.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to share this wonderful platform with you and my very good friend. I think, first of all, condolences to the story that one young baby passed on, allegedly as a result of the flood. I acknowledge that a few or some people still had the unpleasant situation of going through a lot of trauma due to the floods. Yesterday, I had a bit of confusion. I was going through these harrowing pictures of the floods, and I had about 4 of them that I was so sad about. I later got to realize that 2 of them were actually in London, because yesterday in the afternoon, sections of London got flooded. So I couldn't tell. Yes, well, let's get to the bottom of it. We had one of the worst floods last year, and then we all resolved we needed to do something about it. I have no doubt something is being done about it. The Conti project, as we were told, we needed to retweak the designs because new things have come up during that flooding that we shouldn't go ahead exactly with the old plan. They needed to tweak it. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to reorganize that design, but like he said, even if that design were to be ready today, it would take a very, very long time for it to become something that is on the ground because of the
most important thing is for us to start, and I believe that's what
exactly. I agree that Accra, but you see, I'm always worried when the issue is always about when things affect people in Accra, then it's major news. It's simply because the person who complains, who's got the biggest mouth, i.e. the person who can shout more, and the person who have got the biggest ear like you, are all in Accra. I remember my constituency got flooded some time ago. It was maybe just mentioned in the passing. So the issue about drainage and other things is a major thing in the country. And I agree with you, it costs a lot of money. It's not like no government is doing anything, but believe me, if you were to say $1.5 billion into drains in Accra, I think it's important. But as a country, will we say that is the only thing? Then maybe what about drains in Kumasi? He knows, just recently we approved a loan of about 33 million euros for drains in Kumasi. So it's not, things are being done at different places, and I pray that we can continue and improve on this and so that the flooding will stop. It is unlikely, my brother, that there's any solution that we can put forward and tell ourselves henceforth there will not be flooding.
So looking at what is happening elsewhere.
Yeah, it's, you see, the issue is this: depending on the quantum of rain that comes and how quickly it comes at a particular time, and the size of your infrastructure will determine whether it will overcome it. But I always say, when we build, for instance, who determines how much water the rain water can be collected on top of this building? Those are the things that the engineers and the planners can do. Fortunately, as we sit here, there's a new bill in Parliament which is supposed to address some of the planning issues and other things. And I'm sure that when it comes,
members of parliament is always about the bills and the laws and the
that is what we are sent to do.
Sure.
Yeah, but because you see, if the laws, I tell people, if you say building regulation, as I sit here, I always say that Ghana's current building regulation is not fit for purpose, so it needed to be changed. Unfortunately, it's in the process of being changed.
It's being tweaked.
Yes, exactly. So if you have a law which actually is ineffective, implementing it doesn't even solve the problem. So I believe that we need to update those things, and it could reduce the impact, the negative impact of things.
Mr. Patrick Bom, also accompanying this and the whole debate and the discourse is the fact that the pattern of climate around the world has changed. And we've witnessed that in floods in Southern America, elsewhere in Europe, and it's showing that no matter the level of state of your infrastructure, the world has changed. It also means that people's attitudes also need to change.
I agree with you on that. People's attitudes must change. The way we dump refuse into gutters and storm drains is not good. But the issue of climate change has come to hit us in the face.
It's staying with us too.
And it's come to stay. 2, the emergency response in some of these countries, France, you talk about UK, you talk about South America, has been very effective. But in our part of the world where we don't have serious emergency response units with all the gadgets, the tools, and
well, yesterday we tried. We saw the army going on some floating boats.
Yes, but we have NADMO. Are they well resourced? They had to fall on the military. We have a serious institution of state called the National Disaster Management Organization. Are they well positioned to help fight some of these things? Are they only operational in Accra effectively? Do they have the boats and the gadgets up north, central region, Ashanti region, Volta region, when such emergencies occur? There has to be a uniform support for some of these organizations to function effectively. So I'm also looking at the emergency response aspect of these occurrences, and also whether the state is prepared to fund them fully and adequately to be able to take up some of these challenges.
Mr. Agboja, how far is this also a situation of leadership? Not necessarily the political leadership, but somebody, let's say a group of people are in charge of institutions and they need to make sure they put together the right strategies and they adequately implemented to resolve these, knowing that there are natural occurrences that we can prevent.
Well, I think we could all do better in a way to make these things better. I asked myself some of the times that, assuming the gutter in front of my house, how did we arrive at the size of that gutter? Did anybody consider the fact that there are about 10 houses which will discharge a certain volume of water into that drain, so that the drain has to be this size? Or did we just put drains along, hoping that it will be able to take whatever water is in it? I have had a course to well, in Parliament we do meet as committees, we do meet maybe like Hydro, the Department of Hydro and other things, and we could see that some of the strategies they've got, like you are saying, needed to be looked at, because you're talking about climate change. Maybe we were told just recently that even the volume of rain that falls has reduced. However, the rest are all concentrated within few months, so that leads to a level of a lot of water coming onto the ground at the same time. When it comes to strategy of state, I think the issue most of the time you probably notice is about cost, because these are not cheap things to implement. But I think as a state we are not leaving these things to chance. I just reminded you that just last year or something like that, we passed a new loan to build few drains, or 33 million euros in Kumasi. I think those kind of things needed to be replicated elsewhere. I know AME is doing something, but most importantly, we should respect the laws of nature. Every country, every state, when you have a situation where places in Accra were naturally receptacles of maybe excess water, i.e. they were like ponds that excess water can go in.
Yeah, low-lying areas which collect water.
Exactly. Today, people have built inside them. Naturally, that water need to find its way somewhere.
Built and not small buildings.
Yes, exactly.
Now, how do you call it? Chateau?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
huge edifices.
Exactly. And guess what?
Huge investment.
Yeah, and if you were to take the bulldozers there,
you bought one already.
I wish I would have been very happy.
If you were to take the bulldozers there this morning, try to bring them down, that becomes the news of.
How did they get the permits to build in the first place?
Well, of them.
Before you put the bulldozers, you should have.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Some of them don't have permits at all. You see,
then our city authorities are negligent.
No, you see that matter.
That's why leadership is a very key issue.
I keep making this. We were making a mistake. Look. I'll give an example. If you marry and you leave your wife and go and stay abroad, that doesn't mean that your wife is available. The fact that you start building illegally on a land and they didn't come to you when you were at foundation stage, it doesn't mean that when you reach roof stage, you haven't committed a crime. You can still be punished for that. And I'm saying that the state should be able to punish those people. That there's some erroneous in this country that when you build illegally on a land and you reach a certain level, then it should be regularized. It shouldn't happen.
Well, it depends where it can be regularized. I think that there are precedents in the courts which have given the indication that a judge in the court of he's a legal practitioner.
Not correct.
So
that's not entirely true.
Okay, let's change the subject.
Very well.
We're not here to debate the law. So when I become a law student, I'm sure then we can start the debate. Then
to be on a level now.
That legislation applies to a certain part of Accra. It was specific.
I
thought.
But people are.
I read some literature like that. So I thought
a uniform application of that specific legislation.
You and I will become just students. You just bully us because we have.
If you build to the lentil level, then you are allowed.